Oh, there we go. Wow. That is a fall fatty.
Oh my goodness.
All
Look at
right.
that bass.
Let's talk about bladed jigs. Hey everybody, Mike from FisherMN here. Happy to be with you again. Today we're going to talk about what's fast becoming one of my favorite lures. I started out this series with my favorite lure, the frog, but over the past few years I've started to use the bladed jig more and more, especially as the sun starts coming up and that early morning bite is turning off and the fish are going a little deeper. This has been a lifesaver and has extended my day. In fact, it's caught some of my biggest fish on a lot of days. So we'll come back to the different types of bladed jigs, but first I thought I'd let you see the setup I'm using in summer 2024. I have to say I kind of went all out this year. I've enjoyed the jig so much that I decided to get a brand new rod to throw the jig with. I went to Bass Pro, they had a rod and reel trade-in, and I decided to trade in an old rod for a Mojo yak rod. If you watch my videos, I fish mostly out of a kayak. So this has some components a little shorter down here, things that are a little better for the kayak. I love the grip on it. So this will be interesting. The other thing I'm doing this year is I'm going to be using a medium rod blank rather than a medium heavy. That medium size rod will be nice to be able to throw these 3/8 ounce bladed jigs. I say 3/8 ounce because that's pretty much all I use. I find that it works in 1 to 2 feet, kind of burning it through the weeds and bouncing it off the weeds. And I find it works in 5 to 6 feet to kind of hit the tops of the weeds or let it sink a little bit or a little bit slower sink. 3/8 ounce has been my size in the bladed jig. Let me know in the comments, what size do you usually use? All right, so the biggest splurge of the winter was the reel. I had gone in looking for a new Daiwa reel, kind of a smaller profile because I knew I was going to have a medium rod. And I went to Scheels, which is a sporting goods store here in Minnesota. And I started looking at the Tatulas because I have some of them. And I just kind of let my eye wander over to the clearance section. And they had a Daiwa Steez reel that was marked down quite a bit. If you look up Steez, they're very expensive. So this was a big splurge for me for sure. I've had it out for one trip. Pretty amazing so far. So I'll let you know, maybe next summer I'll do a review on this high-end reel from Daiwa. But just know, if you're gonna fish a chatterbait, last week I mentioned medium heavy rod, nice bait casting reel. If you're on a budget, I would say you could use your same rod and reel from your frog fishing to your bladed jig fishing. But if you have a little bit more of a budget, I would suggest getting a separate combo, because then you're ready with this and you're ready with your frog at a moment's notice. If the setup proves to be too lightweight, I will go back to one of my medium heavy rods. This is a Bassex medium heavy 7-foot rod. This is what I used for a lot of my chatterbait fishing last year and it worked great. But I wanted to give a little lighter setup a try. Summer gets a little bit long with all the casting. This setup is feather light and so far so good. I got bass close to 4 pounds on opener and chatterbait was what I was using. Tended to work pretty well. While I have this one here, this is the Strike King Thunder Cricket. It's a titanium model, so it's a little bit lower profile. Just love this setup. Thunder Crickets can run you quite a bit, especially in the titanium model. But if you keep your eyes open, you can find some pretty good deals out there. I was able to, at Dick's Sporting Goods here in Minnesota, find a deal where they have these on clearance, and it was buy 5, get 5 free, so I ended up getting 10 Thunder Crickets for about $5 a piece. And if you shop around for Thunder Crickets, they're between $12 and $15 a piece usually, so look for those deals. The first year and a half or so that I was using bladed jigs, I did what everybody does, and I just used the original chatterbait. So here's the original chatterbait. White is kind of my go-to color here in Minnesota. The originals just have a a metal kind of blade in front, and they look just like the higher end ones. What I'm finding on the higher end ones is the hook and the skirts are a little more high quality, and they might have a little different shape here too. So but if you're just getting into fishing, or if you're on a budget, you can find these on sale for anywhere from $3.50 to $4 a piece, which is a pretty darn good deal. Regular price, Walmart usually has them for about $5. You'll have to experiment on your lakes what works best for color. White and black and blue are the two colors that I like for the lakes that I fish on. Another favorite for me is the Berkley Slobber Knocker, and has a little bit different shape compared to the original chatterbait. To the blade, has a nice hook, a little bigger hook, and I love the keepers on the Berkleys. Just a simple little hook there. A lot of them have like a piece of wire sticking out, and I just find that fish kind of rip at that. These, it may slide down a little bit, but you're able to rehook it a lot easier. So Berkley Slobber Knockers are another one of those higher end baits, and I found a deal once again. You just got to be kind of vigilant online. Walmart, actually, I don't know if they had these mismarked or what, but they're usually $12 to $15 a piece, and I ended up getting a bunch of them for about $5 a piece. So I also spread the word to my buddies, and by the time by the time we were done with our orders, Walmart had taken them off their site. So just keep your eyes out. There's always a lot of good deals out there. But like I say, for a bladed jig, you can go with the original and do just fine. One of the wild cards for me this summer is going to be the big bladed Z-Man chatterbaits. And I'm kind of excited to use those on days where maybe I need a bigger bite, or maybe the fish are chasing a bigger profile bait. So I'm interested in trying these out. I usually store them in a Plano Edge Series jig box. Seems to hold them really nicely. This is kind of my storage box, and this is my on the water box. They've got these nice little dividers, and the heads fit in there just right, and got a nice assortment for the next time I'm on the water. The last thing to think about with a bladed jig is, what are you going to put on the back of it? I started out mostly fishing with like a paddle tail style, and I definitely still have some of those. It gives you a nice kind of big wobble off the back of it. But last year, probably 80% of the time, I started using a minnow style bait off the back of it. And so what I have here are my favorites from Berkley. Now, not sponsored or anything, and if I recommend something, it means I've used it for more than 2 years. I like these power stingers. So these power stingers just kind of give that perfect action off the back. Most of the time, I trim off probably about 1/2 inch of the skirt on here, just so you see a little bit more of the tail going back and forth. So you'll have to experiment with that. That's just something that's worked for me. Definitely with the slobber knockers that I bought, I'm going to be using this darker trailer. And then with the white, sometimes even with the dark, I'm going to use this. And this is one of my little tips from last year. Hopefully you can see that all right. These are the Power Stinger from Berkley Electric Shad Color. And the electric shad color was just golden for any kind of fishing that I did. First trip out this year, same thing. So check those out. Many companies have the electric shad color. I use these Zaccos from Yamamoto, and they're the same kind of shape. You can see on the bag the shape that they are. This bag happens to be the white ones. And I also have electric shad from Gary Yamamoto's too. So it must be kind of a thing. Most companies have electric shad. I have the most experience with power bait, and they've been great. So there you go. Put those on the back of your bladed jig and get out there. Give the bladed jig a try. If you missed my frog video, it's up here. Go check that out. It's another short video about the favorite frogs that I use during the summer. Most of all, get out there and fish. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.